All right. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? This is Twin Flames Unite, and we are at it again. And if you don't know by now, which you already know, I'm Chris.
And I'm Leisha.
What up? All right. So today we are going into week 3 of You Are Magical as Fuck.
That's right.
Okay. And today we're going to be touching on a very important part of this whole series, which is the imagination.
It's too early.
It's too early. Okay. It's too early. We got the drawing board.
Okay. I'm excited.
All right. So boom. So today we are going to jump into the imagination. Okay. Because the imagination is going to be a critical key for you becoming the new you.
Very, very, very critical. And as you begin to utilize your imagination, this is when you're going to start to see true transformation right in front of your eyes.
Yep.
Take it from me.
Hands down. We are living it right now. Okay.
Absolutely.
We are living it. You know, we keep our private life private, but we have our public life as well. But the things that's going on behind the scenes, y'all.
It's magical.
But
magical.
That's neither here nor there. We'll get into that in our Royal Twin Flame meetings, okay? But anyway, let's go ahead. Let's jump right into it.
Go into it. Can I show myself?
When we get to the art thing. Oh, gosh.
I'm so excited.
All right. So you are Magickal AF. All right. So boom. What's our overview, sweetheart?
Our overview. So we're going to go into creating a future with your imagination, like we just talked about. Scientists confirm the power of imagination. So we're going to go into that aspect also, and also how to harness the power of your imagination, which is the most important one out of all of these, I think. Also, we're going to have questions to build your gift of imagination, developing the imagination, creative visualization, which is super, super important, and 4 steps for effective, note the word effective creative visualization.
Yes. Because the visualization, this is so key. And look, now just a quick disclaimer, because the information that we're about to go off of, this is granted that you've gone through the first 2 webinars that we've done already, because we provided some awesome books to really help get you on your way. One of the most powerful one that we pretty much put out was the one from Joe Dispenza on breaking the habit of being yourself.
Right. That one would help you to really utilize and understand the other one, which is the magician. So in that order, you read the one and do the exercises, because it's important.
Right.
Reading is good, but the application is what we're looking for. Okay.
Exactly.
Then you go back and you read the magician, and you see how everything kind of falls into place.
Yes. Because even when you go through and you read the Joe Dispenza book, it is going to help you out tremendously with your meditation, because that's one of the things that we kind of found out, that there's some missing pieces as far as when it comes to meditation. And this is like groundbreaking.
Right.
So if you haven't seen week 1 and 2, go back and watch those, and then come back to this one and join us for the rest of the information. Because once you've cleared out all of the clutter and you've gotten your subconscious mind under control, the world is yours.
This is where the magic begins.
Yes. All right. So boom, let's go ahead and get into it, because we have this awesome quote from a very famous individual. You all know him. We don't have to put his name down at the bottom.
We don't need his name. Goofy, intelligent guy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to quote from him. Okay, Albert Einstein. I believe in intuition and inspiration. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited, while imagination embraces the whole world. I think he probably meant universe, multiverse. Stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. It is strictly speaking a real factor into scientific research.
Okay. So this is what we're here to do, y'all. We're here to marriage science and spirituality, because they are really one and the same. There's nothing different really from scientific versus spirituality, especially when you start looking into the nuts and bolts of things they're really wanting to say.
Yeah, if you ask me, I think they really use science to understand spirituality.
Facts.
The ones that they can understand, they call it science, right?
Yeah.
And for the ones that is outside of their understanding, they just leave it as spirituality because they don't know how, they haven't figured it out yet.
Mm-hmm.
But every time they figure something else out, they move it from spirituality into science.
Yeah.
You can take a look and see for yourself, and then they give them different names. You have quantum physics, right?
So we're gonna talk about that.
But those are the little labels that they put once they figure out some pieces. They move from spirituality and put it in a science bucket.
Yeah, because one is even more, one particular subject as far as science is concerned that's really getting close to spirituality is string theory.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar with any one of those terminologies, definitely take this time. Hopefully you got notes and you're taking down notes. But definitely look into quantum physics and string theory, because those two fields are very, very close in spirituality. It explains a lot for the reason why certain things work the way that they work.
Right.
Especially if you saw the last video where we showed you how your intention is pretty much a field that is around you that is sending out signals to the universe that then make it into physical form, and then you see it in your hands or you experience it.
So it is not like woo-woo stuff. It is really science. They have actually figured that portion out.
Right. Well, let's get on into it. So we're going to touch a little bit on imagination. But one of the misconceptions that we definitely have to get out the way is that imagination is not exclusively to children and artists. Okay? Even though they have some really groundbreaking stuff and they come up with some things that we may not have ever thought of, you and I have the same abilities as these children and artists.
Because we were once children. So, I mean, the child, it's still, we still here, right? We just got bigger.
Yep. Just a fact. Because the truth is that we all are born with imaginative potential.
That's right.
We all have that potential within us. This innovative and original way of conceiving the world can be applied to cooking, business, or technology. And this is something we spoke about. I can't remember if we did a live on it or if we talked about it in one of these videos, but cooking is really magic.
It is.
Because you're taking raw material that has not already been processed and you're creating a delicious meal out of it.
Hopefully it's delicious, but you're still creating.
Yeah. If it tastes good or if it don't taste good.
And this is how it works.
Right.
So learning magic, learning how to cultivate your own magic is like being a good cook, right? Not learning how to cultivate your magic is like being a bad cook. See, the bad cook don't really know what they're doing. They're just throwing some stuff together and hoping for the best. Sometimes it comes out, but sometimes it doesn't. That's magic. That's our everyday life. Sometimes things happen the way that we want to. Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. Right. So after these series, you're going to be a good cook.
Yes.
When it comes to magic, you will be able to gain these tools, get this knowledge, put it into practice, and live life on purpose with intention, with the right intentions, not accidental intentions, but the right intentions, the one that you put forth.
Facts. There you go. All right. So you got this next one, sweetheart?
Yes, I got this one. Creating the future with imagination. Imagination allows us to anticipate the future we want to experience and motivates us to take steps in materializing it. Okay?
Bring it to reality.
Sometimes you have to live in fantasy in order not to die of reality. Okay? And so start working and developing your dream imagination today. Just relax. Imagination should be something fluid and fun. Note the word fluid and fun. Okay?
2 F's.
Exactly. 2 F's, fluid and fun. Imposition is the antithesis. Thank you for that. Because the S's is in there. Oh boy.
Antithesis.
There you go. A fantasy.
There you go.
Just won't come out. But listen to that word. Look at those. Let's pay attention to those 2 words and how important it is, right? So I have a friend and she she's supposed to be writing something for her best friend, like a speech. And she doesn't know what to write. And she's wanting to pay someone to write it for her. She wanted to pay me to write it for her. I'm like, no, it's your best friend. You have to write from the heart space. So you have to open up your heart space and let it flow.
Right.
Don't try to control it. Let it flow out naturally. So being in the flow, when you're in the flow, okay, this is the imagination. It's a flow.
Mm-hmm.
Fluid flow. Fluidity. That's what that means. Fun and fluid.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is how you know when you're in imagination, you're in a state of flow. If you guys ever seen Soul, it's a cartoon
Pixar
on Disney, right?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, I definitely urge you to take a look at Soul.
Mm-hmm.
This movie definitely explains, I don't know why they did it, but they did it. They showed you what it's like to be in the flow. This is where you go to harness your imagination. This is where you go to bring things down to your reality.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you have Magic Johnson, Magic Johnson.
Michael Jordan,
all of these athletes, they get into what's called a flow. And that's why they're able to do what you guys think it's like, wow, that's magic.
I think it's magic.
Right. But they're just in the flow.
Yes.
And we all can get in that state of flow. Mm-hmm. In the imagination.
Yes.
We want to teach y'all how to do that.
Yes. And with that, we actually have 2 short videos that we're going to share with you all. And we're about to come up to the first one. Because if we try to go through and make this science as simple as possible, which we could, but it may take us a little bit longer.
Right.
So with using our resources, because we have plethora of resources, that's where the abundance comes in.
Right.
And so we're using this resource to share with you a really simple way to understand how your imagination works on a scientific level.
Right.
All right. So let's go ahead and let's go to the video. We're going to optimize for video clip. Boom. Let's get into it.
Imagine for a second a duck teaching a French class, a ping pong match in orbit around a black hole, a dolphin balancing a pineapple. You probably haven't actually seen any of these things, but you could imagine them instantly. How does your brain produce an image of something you've never seen? That may not seem hard, but that's only because we're so used to doing it. It turns out that this is actually a complex problem that requires sophisticated coordination inside your brain. That's because to create these new, weird images, your brain takes familiar pieces and assembles them in new ways, like a collage made from fragments of photos. The brain has to juggle a sea of thousands of electrical signals, getting them all to their destination at precisely the right time. When you look at an object, thousands of neurons in your posterior cortex fire. These neurons encode various characteristics of the object: spiky, fruit, brown, green, and yellow. This synchronous firing strengthens the connections between that set of neurons, linking them together into what's known as a neuronal ensemble. In this case, the one for pineapple. In neuroscience, this is called the Hebbian principle. Neurons that fire together, wire together. If you try to imagine a pineapple later, the whole ensemble will light up, assembling a complete mental image. Dolphins are encoded by a different neuronal ensemble. In fact, every object that you've seen is encoded by a neuronal ensemble associated with it, the neurons wired together by that synchronized firing. But this principle doesn't explain the infinite number of objects that we can conjure up in our imaginations without ever seeing them. The neuronal ensemble for a dolphin balancing a pineapple doesn't exist. So how come you can imagine it anyway? One hypothesis, called the mental synthesis theory, says that, again, timing is key. If the neuronal ensembles for the dolphin and pineapple are activated at the same time, we can perceive the 2 separate objects as a single image. But something in your brain has to coordinate that firing. One plausible candidate is the prefrontal cortex, which is involved in all complex cognitive functions. Prefrontal cortex neurons are connected to the posterior cortex by long, spindly cell extensions called neural fibers. The mental synthesis theory proposes that, like a puppeteer pulling the strings, the prefrontal cortex neurons send electrical signals down these neural fibers to multiple ensembles in the posterior cortex. This activates them in unison. If the neuronal ensembles are turned on at the same time, you experience the composite image just as if you'd actually seen it. This conscious, purposeful synchronization of different neuronal ensembles by the prefrontal cortex is called mental synthesis. In order for mental synthesis to work, signals would have to arrive at both neuronal ensembles at the same time. The problem is that some neurons are much farther away from the prefrontal cortex than others. If the signals traveled down both fibers at the same rate, they'd arrive out of sync. You can't change the length of the connections, but your brain, especially as it develops in childhood, does have a way to change the conduction velocity. Neural fibers are wrapped in a fatty substance called myelin. Myelin is an insulator and speeds up the electrical signals zipping down the nerve fiber. Some neural fibers have as many as 100 layers of myelin. Others only have a few. And fibers with thicker layers of myelin can conduct signals 100 times faster or more than those with thinner ones. Some scientists now think that this difference in myelination could be the key to uniform conduction time in the brain, and consequently, to our mental synthesis ability. A lot of this myelination happens in childhood, so from an early age, our vibrant imaginations may have a lot to do with building up brains whose carefully myelinated connections can craft creative symphonies throughout our lives.
All right. So that is a scientific explanation as to why your imagination works. Okay? Because now this is moving a little bit ahead, but when it comes to visualization, creating like a vision board, like you are in the process of creating a whole new experience that you've never experienced before. Mm-hmm. So how in the world are you going to imagine something that you've never experienced?
Exactly.
So for just by noticing or listening to what the gentleman just said on the video, you can train your brain. And this is actually something that's talked about in the Joe Dispenza book, actually all three of his books, to be honest, about how you can train your neural network to fire in the way that you want it to fire. So all of these things that you've ever seen before, you have some visual file of them within your brain. And so because for me, I mean, even watching this video, like I haven't seen a dolphin with a juggle a pineapple, but I'm seeing it in my head and I'm over here giggling.
Well, I replaced it with a ball because I've seen them with the ball. So I just removed the ball and I imagined the pineapple.
There you go. But you see, this is how you can create new worlds. Because you have you have 1 million terabytes of storage of information in your head that you can pull from.
Right. We so magical. They make machines from us. Mm-hmm. The computer was made from us.
Yes, yes, yes.
The camera was made from us. Everything was made from us.
Facts. All right. So boom. So hopefully that visual aid really helped you out in understanding how your imagination how you can just come up with things that just don't really happen in this world. Mm-hmm. Okay. But next, we're going to give you a little bit more proof. Because when it comes to imagination, this is not something that's new to athletes. It's not something new to authors. It's not new to people who come up with business ideas. And also, it is not new for those who are actually able to overcome certain illnesses.
Yes.
Okay. But we're going to get into that. All right. And we have another video that we're going to share with you real briefly. I think this was probably about 5 minutes as well. But let's go ahead and get into it because we really want to drive this in about how strong your imagination Really is.
And again, the imagination, you're going to need this to work your magic. So you got to make sure you have a strong, stable foundation. That's why we're going in on the imagination like this. It's a major key.
Yeah, major key. All right, let's get back into it. Boom.
Our brains cannot tell the difference between an actual physical event and the vivid visualization of that same event. A reason for this is that when we experience something and when we visualize the same thing, we activate similar brain circuits. Because of this, visualizing desirable outcomes helps boost confidence, motivate ourselves, improve focus, practice movement sequences, increase strength, decrease reaction times, rewire our brains, and make epigenetic changes in our bodies. These things, along with your training, all complement and reinforce each other to improve performance and help you achieve your goals. For example, Conor McGregor uses visualization to boost confidence and prepare for competition. To give you an idea of how serious Conor is about training his mental game, here's what his coach John Kavanagh has said about it.
Visualization techniques that Conor was doing before I'd heard of anyone else doing them, like he could tell me when he was going to fight, he knew exactly what was going to happen long before it happened because he had done it 1,000 times in his head. He had warmed up in backstage. He had heard the crowd. He had smelt the arena. He had seen the audience. He would really immerse himself in the fight night. So by the time fight night came along, where a lot of people do maybe been training in kind of a quiet gym for 8 or 12 weeks, and then they walk out to 15,000 people and they get shocked. He used to walk in going, yeah, this is my 1,000th time doing this.
Yeah.
Like John Kavanagh said, Conor's vivid visualizations can help explain why he is so relaxed and confident when he makes the walk to the octagon. It's a similar story with Michael Phelps. In his book, he writes that he would visualize to prepare for competition and to motivate himself, sometimes for up to 2 hours in one sitting.
My dreams and visualizing kind of really played a role in to making me motivated and helping me achieve the goals that I had.
Alex Honnold, an athlete who climbs some of the world's most challenging mountains without a rope, does the same thing as Phelps. As he writes in his book, sitting and thinking, hour after hour, visualizing every single move, everything that could possibly happen. That's what it takes to wrap your mind around a challenge such as the one I was about to attempt. I had deliberately visualized everything that might happen on the climb, including breaking a hold or just losing it and falling off. In a real sense, I performed the hard work of that free solo during the days leading up to it. Once I was on the climb, it was just a matter of executing. In terms of increasing focus and decreasing reaction times, a study of 200 martial artists found that visualization and self-talk reduced reaction times from 0.737 seconds to 0.659 seconds, roughly 10%. Although this may not seem like much, this is often the difference between winning or losing. An explanation for why this happens is rooted in a part of our brain called the reticular activating system. The reticular activating system acts as a filter. Out of all the information coming to our senses from the environment, it selects what will be noticed and given attention to by the conscious mind. By practicing visualization, you can prime your reticular activating system to help you notice and focus on important information during your competitions. For example, in UFC 194, Conor knocked out the 10-year undefeated featherweight champion in 13 seconds. Conor had been visualizing the sequence months before the fight and had even told the world what he planned to do.
I plan to set him up, trap him, lead him into dead space, lead him where he feels he is safe, but all of a sudden it's a trap and he is in big danger.
During his warm-up, he was also practicing that exact sequence. When the fight started, Conor's mind was focused and primed to recognize his opponent's sequence, which allowed Conor to instantly react with the counterpunch. In terms of practicing movement sequences, a Harvard study found that research subjects who mentally practiced a simple 5-finger piano exercise for 2 hours a day for 5 days made the same brain changes as the subjects who physically practiced the same activities, but without ever lifting a finger. Remarkably, visualization can also increase strength. In a similar experiment, 10 volunteers each imagined flexing one of their biceps as hard as they could 5 times a week.
In a few weeks, they increased their bicep muscle strength by 13.5%, and they maintained that gain for 3 months after the training had stopped. And finally, consistent practice of visualization can be used to rewire our brain and to make epigenetic changes in our bodies. This is the part of visualization that I find the most fascinating. I'll be making another video in the future summarizing the book You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza to explain the science of how this all works. The key takeaways from this video is that there are countless benefits to visualizing, and you would be at a disadvantage if you did not make use of them. In a future video, I'll be explaining the specifics of how to visualize like an elite level athlete. Subscribe to the channel to be notified when that video comes out and to receive the best mental strategies for elite performance. Thanks for watching.
Awesome.
Voila.
Look at the muscles, boy. Oh,
You've been dreaming about doing your sit-ups and your
dream. Oh, no, I ain't gonna do it.
No, I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna do that.
We ain't gonna do that. but it's real. Okay. Now there's one part in there that that he mentioned towards the end about the effects that your imagination can have as far as epigenetics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's another term that if you don't know about, you need to look into.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because with epigenetics, it is the difference between two twins, both who have cancer genes or traits in their bloodline, right? This explains the reason why one twin can get cancer, but then the other one doesn't.
Right.
Okay. It's all because of what is happening in the brain, which triggers that trait to either turn on or to stay off.
Mm-hmm.
And even when it's turned on, you can actually turn it off with your imagination.
That's right.
If you get a chance, because the Joe Dispenza book, You Are the Placebo,
Mm-hmm.
he talks about countless cases on how people who have had spinal injuries, who had terminal cancer, who almost died from overdoses,
Yeah.
all came back and became completely healthy with the power of the imagination.
Power of the mind.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know how much plainer we can make it. Is there any?
No, I'm still excited to
Oh,
show y'all what I'm doing.
Oh, but we're about to get into it. We close, baby. Just hold tight. We close. We close. All right. We got some questions that we need to share with the people.
Okay,
you want
let's
to
share.
go through these questions?
Yes.
All right. So now these are just some questions to help build your gift of imagination.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So questions build your gift of imagination. First one, how does the situation make you feel?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next one, have I had similar feelings in the past? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I facing a repeating pattern in my life? I know this is a big one. Everybody can relate to this one.
Mm-hmm.
How would I like to act? Or how do I wish to react to that situation?
Mm-hmm.
What would you need to do?
Right.
All right.
Yeah. Because these are key as far as picking out certain situations that you don't want to be in, but then also recognizing how would I like to act, or how do I wish to react to this situation? So if you notice that you have a recurring pattern that's just going on in your life that you don't want to experience anymore, be real with yourself and think, okay, I feel this type of way whenever this happens, right? But I don't want to feel that way anymore. I want to feel X, Y, Z. Okay. And then once you recognize what you want, then the magic is going to come in, because once you figured out what you want, in just a few more slides, we're going to show you how you can get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How you can experience what you want to experience. And just understand that emotions play a key part.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have a lot of energy behind them.
That's a major key. I don't know if you guys
Mm-hmm.
ever seen Supernatural. That's our show right now.
Yes.
But there is, I think we're in season 11?
Yes.
In season 11,
Mm-hmm.
Lucifer he was drained of his grace. The grace is the thing that makes them magical. They can disappear, they can teleport and stuff like that. Heal you just like that. Snap their finger, you blow up and disappear, turn to ash, right? Mm-hmm. That's his grace. So he's low on grace. Now, because he's low on grace, Dean and Sam, they taken advantage of this. So they had a really good witch. She's a really good witch. What was her name again? Rowena. So Rowena put him in chains, in magical chains. And they figured, his grace is low, so we can put him in the magical handcuffs, chains. So they had him chained to the back. The chains to the back, and they have him leaning forward, and they're draining his grace to keep a portal open. So
sounds crazy.
It sounds crazy, but this is what it is, right? So he was there getting on Rowena's nerves on purpose because he wanted some attention. I guess he was bored. So Rowena got fed up, and she came over to him and she started telling him things that would make him upset. And that's what he wanted, because he figured out while he was locked up by the king of hell that if he gets enough emotion, which is anger is a very powerful emotion. Mm-hmm. So if someone makes him angry, it can actually make him stronger and he can break free from the magical chains. So he got her to tell him stuff about his son, and he started getting really mad. And that bolt of energy allowed him to bust those chains, right? Mm-hmm. And I said that to say that emotions carry a lot of energy. Mm-hmm. All right. So you can utilize your emotions to will your imagination into physical existence.
Yep. It's just a matter of redirecting it. Mm-hmm. All right.
Redirection. That's right.
All right. So now, this part may seem a little childish, but it is very true. Okay. So let's get into it.
Kids are powerful.
Yeah, they're very powerful. But let's get into it. So developing your imagination, because we can take ordinary things and make them extraordinary.
That's right.
Okay. If you all are familiar with kids and playing with boxes, I'm feeling very strongly that the only thing we need to do for Christmas is just get some really good boxes.
We did that before. We got these kids all kinds of expensive toys. Did you not know they put the toys to the side and started making houses out of these boxes? They left the toys to the side. Mm-hmm. That hurt my feelings.
Yeah. But knowing what we know now is really good for them because it helps them build in their imagination. Yeah. It helps make that lining for their nerves even stronger so that they can get faster connections.
Yeah.
Which probably a lot of them already have nowadays, especially these new ones coming in.
It's coming in different.
Okay. But at the bottom here is just some exercises to help you expand your imagination. As you can see on the left, where the arrow is pointing from left to right, there's just a simple image of like what looks like a V. And then out of that, you just draw something, whatever you think comes up. And this person drew an eye. Mm-hmm. And on this one, it looks like a really M that's like on the side.
Wiggling something.
But somebody used their imagination and looked at a cup being tipped over. Mm-hmm. So this is how you can develop your imagination. Take something that is ordinary and make it extraordinary.
That's right.
Okay. And then now we're going to get to this part because this is my favorite part. This is actually an exercise where you can just take a phrase and create a picture.
And I've been doing the opposite, actually.
Yeah. Did you want to read this one out?
Yes. So the doodle dandy, right? So create a picture based on a phrase. For example, happy as a clam, I can't get satisfaction. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? No, night of a hard day, human nature, the art of noise. Here comes trouble. So you could just pick any one of those. And they gave you an example right here. Here comes trouble. That's an example of what they see in their imagination just from those words, right? Mm-hmm. So you got two over there.
Yes. And so we have been doing our own, well, my baby's been doing a lot.
You've been doing stuff too?
I'm doing some creative stuff. And due to NDAs, I can't show it right now. But my baby can show her creativity.
Now, keep in mind, guys, this happened after I started, really doing this technique that we're teaching you guys. I was never an artist. I was very comfortable drawing my stick man. Okay.
Yeah.
And if I did paint something, it would be something regular, or
I don't even think we have anything regular.
I already painted it over. I took something old and I made it new with my imagination because I was running out of canvas. So
Which is dope. Hold on. Take a pause.
Okay, take a pause.
Take a pause.
I'm so excited.
Hold on. You said that you took something old
And made it new and then drew on it.
Wow.
And then painted it. So I wasn't allowing me not having a canvas as an excuse for me not to paint. I said, I'm going to paint. Something's got to give. So, baby, do you mind bringing me that example over there, the one that I got on the canvas stick? I'm going to show them.
What color is it?
The brown one. It's right there in front of you on the canvas.
On the easel.
Yeah.
Oh, you probably just.
There you go.
Boom.
So that board, I repainted it and I also shaded it. It was a board. It had a picture on it. When I was practicing, I didn't really have this channel gift, or I didn't unlock my DNA as of yet. So now that I've unlocked my DNA, I went over and I painted over the canvas brown and shaded the sides. And that's going to get a beautiful picture. But this is what I've been doing with my imagination. And keep in mind, this is totally new for me. Like, I've never done anything like this. Have I?
No.
Ever.
She
Okay.
has not.
And so this is what I've been doing with my imagination. Okay.
So boom, just
and I can't stop.
Once you get a taste,
I cannot stop. And I have to draw it first, then I painted it. Okay. I promise you I cannot stop.
they just keep going.
It keeps going. It keeps going and going. And yesterday, this is the latest one. Okay. So I keep going. And this is the imagination. This is what I've tapped into. I literally broke something in my brain and it released something. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's another one that started it. This is the one that started it. You guys might have seen this because I think I did put it on Instagram. This is the painting that started this whole thing. I don't even know what to call it. But this young lady came in, and it's funny because I had to open her eyes. Because when I started drawing her, her eyes were closed, and I knew I had to open her eyes. And I was nervous because detail was not my thing. And I was like, baby, would you open her eyes? And he's like, nah, you open her eyes.
Yeah.
So I felt like I needed to open her eyes. And after I opened her eyes, that's when and I'm telling you, I have more that I have to paint. Like, it's so much more that I have to paint. Yeah. And, but this is the magic of the imagination. You tap into something and you start doing things that you never done before.
Right.
Because it's like the synapses, they're wiring different now. So you literally changing your mainframe. Okay. It's like going from Windows 7 to Windows 10.
Yeah.
You upgrade yourself and you unlock things that were laying dormant.
So this is how you can create a whole new world. A whole new
right. And it's not just about painting, guys. What I'm trying to show you is when you unlock that part of your DNA, it's linked to other things. It's not just painting. It's other areas in your life that is directly linked to.
Right.
Okay, so keep that in mind.
Facts.
Because the other areas of my life, it's like things are solving itself. Situations are literally solving itself. Problems we've been having for months are just solving itself.
Yo, we're talking about like even this. Look, because once again, we only talk about things that we experience.
Right.
Okay. And based off of the exercises that I've done personally,
you open up.
Oh my gosh!
You open up a whole avenue for yourself. Came through rushing in like banging down the door. Like, whoa, hold on, wait a minute. Hey,
totally changed.
Something that you've been wanting for about a year now. Like,
a
year. Yeah, about a year. And finally, after you started doing the meditation, started doing this work, and finally, so it's like now our intention field is aligned with our imagination, what we want.
Yeah, because just one quick little sample, right? Because I have been searching for something to actually go through and reprogram my brain, right? Because I figured like, man, this is something that's going on in there that and sometimes it can be self-sabotaging or blocking me from getting certain things. I was like, man, I've reached a point to like, okay, I can't really put my finger on what is this trauma I need to heal or what shadow work I need to do. I was like, hold on, whatever this is, I can't see it, but my subconscious knows what it is. I was like, I need to find out a way. How do I get in and reprogram my subconscious? Okay. And so, lo and behold, came across Joe Dispenza, which we've actually known for quite some time.
Him for years now.
But just never really sat down and read one of his books.
And did the application.
And did the work. Okay? This
it's the work.
Oh gosh, I can't even remember that quote from Bobby Hemming. But he said, dang it, I can't remember it. It'll come back another time. But anyway, when you go through and do the work, actually do the work, do the exercises that are in these books. In this particular series, we provided you all with the host of books.
Yes.
And if you actually go through and just start doing some of the exercises, because I went through and I did the Cashapp one, as far as inviting your, actually sucking in your higher self, your one that has the unlimited power. And I kid y'all not, when I did that exercise, I felt the whole vortex and everything just suck inside of me. If you hadn't read the book, read it. You'll see what I'm talking about. But the one that was most significant, right, was when I went through the exercises in the Joe Dispenza book to help clear out any type of self-thought, any self-defeating things, any of that stuff that really stopped me from my magic. I went through and I did the work. I identified those self-limiting thoughts, really recognized where it was in my body and made that declaration and released it to my higher self or to the infinite universe and said that, look, I'm putting it in your hands to guide me in the way that I need to go.
Right.
And I kid you not, within less...
I shit you not.
Oh, I shit you not.
Right.
Okay.
I shit you not.
Within less than a week, now I'm getting job offers for a graphic design degree that I've had for almost a year now.
And listen, it's like a domino effect because this is it's a domino effect. Just keep it just keep coming. You gotta use the imagination, guys. Yes. This is how our magic works because we have to be able to envision and visualize what it is that we are bringing forth.
Yes.
Okay. That's how it works.
Yes. And if you're not familiar with how to do creative visualization, let's get into it right now. Because we said a few minutes ago, which was that once you decide what you want to experience, then how do you go about experiencing it?
That's right.
Well, let's get into it.
Let's go.
All right. Boom. All right. You got this one, sweetheart?
All right. So creative visualization. Creative visualization is a technique of using your imagination to create what you want in life. Imagination is the ability to create an idea, a mental image or feeling for something. Creative visualization is about using our imagination to create a clear representation of something we want to manifest. We then continue to focus on the idea, image, or feeling regularly. That's the key word. Communicating positive energy to it until it becomes an objective reality. In other words, until we achieve what we have visualized. So you don't stop. All right? This is why the visualization is so important. Okay, you have to build up that energy of consistency.
Yes.
That spirit of consistency.
Yes. And hold on just a second. We need to pause it just for a moment because I think we got a delivery at the door. So give me 1 second. We'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, we're back. Had to sage it out. You got people coming in. But anyway, let's go. All right, so we're getting into the creative visualization, right? Now, we actually have some steps for you all to take as far as your creative visualization.
Right.
So at this point, hopefully you got your notes ready, or you can take a screenshot, whatever works for you, but let's get into it.
Let's go.
Because we are bringing you practical solutions that you can apply easily, naturally, and automatically
in your everyday life, so you can tap into your unlimited potential
and rise to the highest version of yourself. All right, so let's give you the steps, people.
4 steps. All right, so we got the 4 steps of effective creative visualization. Number 1, okay? Decide on your goal. Now, this is very, very important. Decide what you want. You have to know what it is that you want, okay?
Yes.
Decide on something you would like to have, something you would like to work on, or something you would like to do or create, if possible, okay?
Yes.
Next, you create a clear image of that idea. Crystal clear. Look around you. Everything looks clear, right?
Ain't none of this fuzzy.
None of this fuzzy. So you have to have a clear image of what you want, okay? Create an idea or mental image of the object or situation exactly as you want it. You should think of it in the present tense. Like, think of it
so key
as it's already happening. Like, I kid you not. We have a white SUV parked outside right now. Prior to us having that SUV, I would visualize it so much that
say that
whenever I say my affirmations, I would see 2 and 3 of them drive down the street, and my baby would laugh at me. I would be thanking the universe.
Yes.
I'm so grateful for that part. Whatever it is, it could be a situation. It doesn't matter. That's just an example. But it must be clear, okay? You could feel like you can walk outside and get inside of it, whatever.
Yes.
Now, number 3, focus on it frequently. So again, you have to continuously do it.
Yes.
Right? That consistency is the key. The consistency is key for all recipes.
Yes.
All recipes need consistency.
Yeah, because that's a recap from week 1, which is the language of the subconscious, which is repetition, strong emotions, and symbols. Okay? So symbols, repetition, and strong emotions.
Very strong emotions. And I'm pretty sure you can pull up a few strong emotions.
Yes.
Probably could think about somebody and get some of them strong emotions, right?
Yeah.
So the 4th one, transmit positive energy towards the goal. So you have to feed the goal.
Yes.
Feed it energy. So if you're finding that you lacking in energy, take it away from individuals that don't need it and put it towards.
Thank you.
Put it towards that goal that you have. If you're constantly thinking about somebody, your heart is racing and all of that stuff, and you feel like that energy is not serving you, pull that energy away, replace that person, with your goal. And then you send the energy, instead of sending it to that person, instead of sending it to that situation that's not serving you, now you send that energy to that goal with the same passion.
Yes.
Because we need strong emotion, right?
Yes.
Discard any doubts or misgivings you may harbor. So you have to get rid of any type of funky energy that you have inside of you, because that's a blocker.
Yes.
At least at that moment. So when you're thinking about your creation, you have to get rid of all those doubtful negative energies. It is going to rain on that like you have no idea.
Right.
Okay. And get into the habit of cultivating the feeling that that what you want is real and possible. So you have to know. We're not even going to say believe. You have to know that this thing is possible. Okay.
Very possible. And like case in point, that's actually one of the things that happened with me today. Because for one of the things that I actually visualized for is coming to pass. Like it's right in the thing where it's starting to come over the horizon, whatever you may say, right? And this morning, I really had to get myself together.
Self-talk.
That self-talk, like I had to get myself in the line. Like, hold on, you've been fighting for a while for this opportunity.
Right.
Don't fuck it up.
Right.
Get
in alignment.
And so I had to get myself in alignment, take those thoughts that weren't productive, turn them into productive thoughts, and get things done.
And feed that goal.
There you go.
That's what you do.
All right. Now, last but not least, There's this one video that we came across that we would be remiss if we didn't add this.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with Bob Proctor, I would definitely recommend that you get acquainted with Bob Proctor because the information that he provides now, with having the information that we have, it carries so much weight. And I almost want to kick myself, but right now I'm hugging myself. I'm hugging my past self.
Transmute that.
But I'm just saying, just for teaching purposes, in the past, I didn't pay that much attention to Bob Proctor because I was like, oh, what are you talking about? That's fantasy. But now I'm actually experiencing it. Oh, come on.
This is a perfect example. I'm glad that you mentioned that. It's about frequency, energy, and vibrational matches.
Yes.
So in the past, you were not a vibrational match to this information.
Teaching purposes only.
So this is why it was repelled. So in order for us to change our electromagnetic field so that we can attract information, situations, circumstances, money, currency, energy, we have to be a match, because this is a good example of how like attracts like.
There you go.
So hold on. You're going to play this and I'm going to read this for you really, really, really quickly so you can understand how vibrational match is super, super important, and it is vital for your magic. When you want different for yourself, you have to start moving different. Old keys don't unlock new doors.
Oh, just say that last part one more time.
I'm going to say it again. Old keys don't unlock new doors. Got to be a match.
Got to be a match.
And that's the major key.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's share this video and then we're going to get up out of here, okay? So boom, let's get this up.
Let's get it.
Many years ago, I read where Napoleon Hill pointed out that the imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force that the world has ever known. And the average individual uses the imagination, if they use it at all, against themselves. They imagine what they don't want. They imagine problems coming. Let's begin to use our imagination the way God meant it to be used. It's the greatest creative faculty that we possess, and we can build anything we want with it. I want you to wander around your home or possibly your office and take a look at all of the conveniences that you have there that you didn't have, let's say, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years ago, 25 years ago. Do you know that every one of them, without exception, was first created in the mind of one individual with their imagination? Do you know you can use your imagination to go into the future and bring it into the present? That's what all highly successful people do. They see where they want to go, and then they act like the person they want to become. It was William James from Harvard's advice. He said it's the actor's technique. Act like the person you want to become. How do you do that? Well, you use your imagination, of course. You see, it's a strange phenomenon, but the greatest gift we've got is used very well up till the ages of 4 or possibly 5. The little child, we always wonder what's going on in their mind. They're using their imagination. They're building wonderful pictures in their mind. But then they get to school and wham, like that, it comes to an abrupt halt. It's called not paying attention. Daydreaming. Well, what they were really doing was exercising a phenomenal mental faculty. You see, we can see, hear, smell, taste, touch. They're for our physical benefit. As long as we're living in a physical body and corresponding with the material world, we will use our sensory factors. But I have a couple of little dogs at home that can hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. We've got higher faculties. You have perception, the will, memory, intuition, reason, and imagination. These marvelous tools. We can take our imagination and build an image in our mind of how we want to live. Block out what's going now. Don't let your present results have anything to do with this. Just what you want. And it's with your imagination that you will build it. Everything that we have, the camera that I'm speaking to right now, was first created in the mind of one individual. Think of how our world's changed. You see, we were gifted with these higher faculties. We're God's highest form of creation. We were created in God's image. We were given creative faculties to use. And you know, they're only used by 2 or 3% of the population. It's almost inconceivable that people would wander around with so much power and potential and squander it. See, the average person literally tiptoes through life, hoping they make it safely to death. It's such a shame, and it doesn't have to be that way. Think we have giant corporations and little wee creative departments. And the primary reason for that is the average individual really does not believe that they're creative. Now think, everyone's creative, and no one is more creative than another. It's just that some have chosen to use their creative faculties to a greater degree than others. Imagination, your imagination. What do you want? How do you really want to live? Build the picture in your mind. There's a power that is flowing to and through you. A creative, unadulterated power. It can be photographed leaving your body. Way back in the 30s, Semyon Kurlin, the Russian photographer, perfected a form of photography where you can actually photograph a person's body and you will see the energy glowing from them. Well, that energy flows into your mind. And it's the images you build in your mind that's going to dictate the vibration that this instrument you're living in is in. And the vibration on a conscious level is called feeling. Make certain that you exercise your imagination daily. Build beautiful images in your mind of how you want to live, and then hold those pictures there and live that way. The imagination, the greatest nation in the world, the imagination. You've got one. It's a marvelous creative tool. It deals with the invisible side of your personality. You see, no one will ever really see you. They'll only see your body, and they'll see you the great work that you do. Make certain that your work is great work. And if you keep your imagination alive, keep it active, you're going to have a phenomenal life. You know, life can get better every day, and it will get better every day. Through the proper use of your imagination. What a wonderful idea. This is Bob Proctor. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The information is powerful, and just let y'all know next week, we are going to be touching on practice makes perfect.
That's right.
Okay? Because there are many things that you can do to really transform your life and show how magical you truly are.
Yeah.
But just to touch on what Bob Proctor said there, our imaginations are super, super powerful.
Mm-hmm.
We are living and experiencing it right now. Mm-hmm. It feels like, oh, wow, man, like this has been in front of my face the whole time. And you
the whole time.
So hopefully our passion ignites something in you to start doing the work. Take advantage of the books that we have provided for you all in the links, okay? And just know that if you do some of the exercises, start out with the Joe Dispenza book.
Yes.
And then once you read the Magician book, you're going to see how important getting all of that clutter out of your head is. Because just knowing what's going on here from what Brock Proctor said is that everybody has an imagination. It's just that some use it more than others. Well, with the information that you have right at your fingertips, you have a lot of tools to exercise your imagination and create the reality that you want to experience.
That's right. That's right.
Okay? So with that being said, any last words, Nick?
Yes. One last word. It's there. You just have to turn the lights on so you can see it. Turn the lights on. Activate them DNA. We're in the right season. All right? You don't need no other reason.
Nope. All right, y'all.
All right.
Well, we love y'all.
Love you guys.
See y'all next week. Peace out.